Hi, good morning everyone. I'm Bernard from Automobilico. We're shooting a video for Carmudi's YouTube channel, and I'm here to talk about a 1994 Mitsubishi Montero. And here I will show you the unit here. This is a rare kind of Mitsubishi Montero. This is a one-of-a-kind unit here in the Philippines. Actually, it's imported. It's not a locally produced car here. Normally, when people come to our showroom, they would look for a 90s car, and they are always surprised to find out there are still cars like this. A typical Mitsubishi Montero, 300,000. Normally, no-brainer yan eh. You can only buy a 300,000 budget with a sedan. So, with all the features of an SUV 4x4, maganda talaga kung i-consider nyo rin yung 1990s na diesel and 4x4 Mitsubishi Montero. And now I'll show you another vehicle. It's also a 4x4. Nobody actually takes a second glance, or nobody knows about this particular model so much. Underrated to eh. Actually, itong SUV na to, very 90s siya, iconic to. Pero ngayon, because of the Jimny, nagiging popular siya ulit with the mga 90s guys. So here we go. This is a 1997 Suzuki Vitara. Pero when this was launched in Australia, it was called the Sidekick. So this is like fully dressed up na Vitara during the 90s. So yeah, we just had it painted kasi lahat ng lahat ng pintura niya nag-fade na. So why would you buy a 300,000 90s car? Well, normally 1.2 million, 1 million. A typical Jimny, 300,000, bigger, wider, 4x4, automatic. Why not go for a 90s Suzuki Vitara? So right now, if we're talking about maintenance for 90s vehicle, typically, if you're a technical guy, you would love taking care of the 90s vehicles. Kasi it's like a Lego, you build it one by one. It's like a process of having a toy. And the more na nasisiraan pa nga yan, the more na natutuwa ka kasi the more na gusto mo siya i-upgrade every time there's a part that's being fixed or being replaced. So that's what's so nice about these cars. Kasi kung gusto mo talaga drive and go lang, go for a newer car. Pero if you are the kind of guy na medyo technical, oh, you would love buying all these 90s cars. And meron pa ako sa inyong isang unit na talagang ultimately magugustuhan nyo. Iconic na naman to during the 90s. It's a Toyota Corolla GLI, which is the most popular brand during the time. It's a 1994. This is the last batch ng Corolla na lumabas na limited edition, gold emblem, wood paneling, etc. etc. And this one is very, very super pristine siya. All the lines are kept. Yung mga guhit niya, yung mga pintura niya maganda. So, ito siya. This is the car. I'll show you. Corolla. Ito naman yung piyesa nito, para ka lang bumibili sa palengke. Every time you have a breakdown, it's just like buying a part in maybe Facebook or Marketplace. Or so imagine if you were like in a marketplace or palengke, literal. So if you were to have a 90s car, a typical overhaul for a typical na Corolla, Vitara, or Pajero, nasa 4 digits lang yung gastos ninyo. Pero kung mga brand new yung kotse ninyo at bigla kayo nagkaroon ng overhaul, nagkaroon ng problema after warranty, 5 digits na. So you can just imagine a typical overhaul for a Toyota Corolla would cost you about maybe 5,000 to 10,000 pesos lang. Pero pag yung kotse ninyo mga 5-year-old or 3-year-old, biglang tinamaan ng overhaul, hundreds yun. Sobrang mahal. Tsaka yung joy of fixing, it's always there. Typically, for a 90s vehicle, a good buy would be buying a car from the first owner. And I'll tell you a story. You have to really find out the story behind every old car. Like for example, for this particular Corolla, ano po siya, nabili ko siya sa babae na maraming kotse na napabayaan niya na lang sa garahe niya yung sasakyan. So when I found it, the car was fading yung pintura niya, pero the insides and the interiors were all pristine kasi nga first owner siya. Tsaka it's a limited model, last variant na siya or last model na siya for this kind of Corolla na they call it big body. Normally, for a 90s vehicle, ang mga buyers namin who would come here would be yung takot na mag-commute because right now it's pandemic time. So, gusto nila yung mga budget car and they would normally look for something na iconic na rin na yung mga kotse na hindi nila mabili noon na kailangan nilang bilhin ngayon dahil limited yung ano natin yung mga vehicles natin sa kalsada. So, yan. Ito na yon yung mga 100 to 200,000 cars na 90s ang dating. Guys, obviously, pag 90s yung kotse, ang hirap maghanap niyan. Most of the time, ano na yan, laspag, dilapidated, ang dami niyo ng gastos na kailangan gawin, and beyond repair na. So, it's just like getting the car and then you have to buy one box of Tylenol para sakit ng ulo. Pero there are a few exceptions kung if you put into place yung buying steps. Like for example, you have to look for a first owner, and then you have to look for a car that is yung original yung pintura, and then of course, test drive. That's the key. Alright? And also, syempre, kung talaga naman hindi nyo siya gagawing daily drive tapos kokolektahin nyo siya, I have another vehicle to show you. Ito yung mga kotse na normally nung brand new siya, milyon, tapos ngayon mabibili nyo ng 150,000, 120,000 lang. So ito yung mga masarap i-drive na magiging timeless na kotse. Ayan. So ito siya. I have one here in my shop. Yeah, here you go. This is a 90s car, 93. It's a Toyota Crown. So imagine, yung ride ng 90s na kotse na to, incomparable sa mga brand yung kotse ngayon. As in, if you're driving it, it's better than, it's comparable to a Mercedes-Benz or a typical BMW. Pero with the price ng maintenance and the reliability of a Toyota brand behind it, ito yung mga collectibles na kotse. Toyota Crown, 1993. And also, ito na yun. Ito rin yung mga classic example ng mga kotse na talagang hindi nyo dapat pinapalampas pag nakita ninyo. Kasi, imagine, original yung pintura, tapos first owner, wala siyang history ng repair or bangga. Yun yung mga kailangan hinahanap nyo pagka 90s na kotse, na hindi na talaga bababa yung value at tumataas pa. Alright, tips naman for people who want to sell their vehicles, yung mga 90s car ninyo. Madali lang siya ibenta kasi low budget siya. People will be running after your homes or will be knocking on your doors right away. Kasi ano siya, yan yung mga saleable for first-time car buyers. However, if you want to sell it really fast, I would suggest na ipa-detail nyo siya. If not, papinturahan niyo yung mga panas na may mga faded na. And paandarin nyo, test drive nyo para before dumating yung buyer, wala na silang mapintas, and at the same time, hindi na siya mabarat or matawaran pa. Okay, so since we are talking about 90s vehicles, let's talk about the most sought-after vehicle during the 90s. And kung 90s ang pag-uusapan, ito rin yung kotse na dapat, kung you have nothing in mind, i-entice ko kayo. Hanapin ninyo Honda Civic SIR variant. So these are the kind of cars na hindi nawawala yung value at saka very powerful at masarap siya laruin yung makina, masarap i-restore, and definitely yung value niya tumataas on a yearly basis. As a matter of fact, sa sobrang walang mabili, 10 years na ako naghahanap, walang dumadating sa showroom ko. That speaks for itself na sobrang sought after siya na hindi umaabot sa showroom ko. Sila, konting ano pa lang, wala na. Alam ng mga car owners, tinatago nila yan, pinipreserve nila. And yun, hanapin niyo mga ganun na sariwang Honda SIR late 90s model. So ayan, if you want to visit our showroom, please visit us at SM City Bikutan. If you want to look for more 90s car, marami pa ka dyan. Meron pa ka mga BMW 316 and well, kung 90s na kotse, madami kami noon. Pasyal lang kayo. And this has been Bernard Liberia from Automobilico. Talking about 90s car for Carmudi YouTube.